We are a podcast for product marketers and B2B SaaS who feel misunderstood of what they do.
From someone who truly gets what you do and
basically help you feel less like a misfit, being unignorable in your role. Welcome to another episode of We're Not Marketer. I'm Gab. I'm the one doing this intro today because Eric just got a baby and he just needs to rebalance himself. But yeah, I'm Gab Bugeaud, a sales deck intern. I just do sales deck until I die. And I'm going to pass the mic to my co-host, Zach.
Hey, this is Zach Roberts here, the sales water boy, keeping all of our PMMs hydrated for when they need to get that last minute sales request, sales one page done here. Let's pass it over here to the newly found baby daddy over here, Eric.
Hey, yeah, if you're first time tuning in, my name's Eric Holland, the one and only Franken marketer of the group, now with the title Franken Daddy. We have two French-speaking folks on the pod today. So I'm going to pass the mic back to Gab, and he can introduce our wonderful guest.
Thank you, Eric. So today we have the wonderful Carlota Güell. She's a senior product marketing manager at Decathlon, a outdoor store all across Europe. She's also, I think you just got your first year anniversary of Product Marketing Stories. Is that right?
In 2 months, 1 month and a half. So nearly.
Awesome.
Okay.
And yeah, it's the number one product marketing podcast in France, in French, actually. And I was on our podcasts, I want to say 6 months ago, maybe more than that. If you speak French, please go listen to it. So yeah, today we have Carlota with us. Carlota, thank you very much for being with the Three Misfits. If you want to introduce yourself and doing a better job of what I just did, that would be appreciated.
Thank you very much for the invitation, and I'm really happy to be here with you today. And yes, I'm from Barcelona. That's why my name is Carlota. I'm half Spanish, half French. So now I'm living in Lyon in France. And I'm a senior product marketing manager for the Decathlon Outdoor application since 1 year. So Decathlon Outdoor is the application from Decathlon that allows French people for the moment to go hiking, go biking everywhere in France and to be guided so people don't get lost at the end of the trip. And so it's a B2C app, and we will be able to talk about the differences between B2B, B2C later on, because I've also worked in the B2B tech environment, in the consumer goods also as a PMM. And yes, beside that, because I don't know what to do on my weekends, I also have a side project. I am the host of the Product Marketing Stories podcast, which is the first French podcast dedicated to product marketing, because I wanted to make, as you guys, product marketing much more understandable, accessible to the tech ecosystem, French tech ecosystem.
Awesome.
That's incredible.
Glad that we were joined with another Misfits from across the world.
And one thing before we get started for all our listeners, she actually has a date with her boyfriend coming up, and she's staying back to record and chat with us. So thank you very much for that. And Gab, we'll let you ask the most important burning question that we like to ask all of our guests.
Yes. At what restaurant are you going? No, I'm kidding. Are product marketers actually marketers? Why or why not?
So yeah, I just read the book from Seth Godin, which is This is Marketing. And he was saying a really interesting sentence about what is marketing. And he was saying that marketing is a generous act of helping someone solve a problem, their problem. And the story of marketing has to resonate with the listeners. So when I read this sentence, I said, we are marketers because we are the guys who are behind the story, who are really saying, okay, what is the story that we want to put behind the product that we are selling to be relevant in the market? We are the one who are specifying what problems our products solve in a way that it resonates to the audience, and we explain why people should buy our product instead of another. So I think that marketing is what allows the projects to exist and to be known. And that's why I think that we are marketers in that sense. But I don't think that we are marketers in the sense we think today about doing lead generation, about doing the SEO campaigns, which are more levers, actionable things to do marketing. And to finish on that, I think that we do all the stuff, all the work that allows these people who are really good at doing SEO programs, organic ads, etc., to be good at that. Because we tell what are the story, how to put it in the market, and then they do the magic. But we are doing the marketing that is hidden and that allows all the company and everyone, which can be sales, customer success, marketing people, to do the stuff right. So I think it's an important and interesting way to think like this, because it gives another point of view about what is marketing. I think, and it gives the marketing are more important and less bullshit, if I can say that, way to think about marketing. And yes, I think that it's really important to have this in mind and to think about, at the end, what do we do? We are strategists. I think many people from your pod say that already. We do positioning stuff. We think about the audience, etc., which is a lot of strategy. But then we are also able to implement it, to execute it. And I think this is the hidden power of the PMMs, being able to be strategic, but also executing well.
I love the way you're putting it, and there's a lot of nuance in your answer, but we understand it perfectly. It's season 2 now. We got lots of answers, but I would say that what I really liked about what you said and the way I'm understanding it is we're enablers at heart. We do a lot of work in the back end, but our job is a lot of helping our counterpart in marketing, because again, we believe that we're not marketers. We're helping them be successful. We're helping them shine, and a lot of that is how are we able to balance out, as you said, strategy, tactics, and execution, basically. Okay.
So you've been listening to our episodes and you said you listen and you ask yourself that question. Do you always say yes? Or do you sometimes have a little difference of opinion? Do you ever float on the no side of the fence with us?
Yes, because I think that, as I said before, I'm not good at doing the operational thing that is marketing today. Running an SEO campaign, I've never done that before. I've written some post and content, but I don't know how to leverage it. I know how to make it good, how to make the people who really are good at that to do it well. But I would not say that I am a digital marketer. And by the way, at my work today, I'm on the product side. My chief is the CPO and it's not the CMO. So I am working with the product team on developing the new features, what would be the roadmap, what will be the product vision. And then I empower the marketing team to put it in place and to define, okay, this will be the product in 4 months. The new features will be like this. And this new feature will help our users to do this kind of hike, or it will allow them to not be scared anymore, or whatever. And so then they can define, okay, what will be the best manner to prove it to the market, and what type of marketing action they will be able to implement.
Carlota, you mentioned earlier that you're now in the B2C space, and for a lot of the conversations we've had have been a lot in B2B. So you're the
Yes.
first person to really speak from this lens here. And we're curious, from your experience back in B2B, now in B2C, do you feel like, what are the unique nuances that a product marketer in B2C would see different from B2B? Because I can't speak to that B2B side. I feel like you know what my answer is about our product marketers from B2B, but I'm curious how that may differ from your angle now as being in the B2C space.
Yeah. And I think that what I will say now will also make more sense about what I said before about why are we marketers. Because when we are in the B2C space, we don't have sales that are selling the product. We don't have customer managers who are onboarding the new clients. And we don't have also people that are usually customer success or sales who are trying to save the churns. So when we put something in the market, it's directly in the market. We don't have these people who are talking to clients, to customers, to prospects that will allow us to get this feedback loop really closely, to talk to them, and then go on the market. So that's why marketing is so important. And brand is also very important because it's at the core of everything. When we write a copy, a landing page, there is a new feature, we don't have a prospect. We can show it to specific prospects and then call them or clients and get calls with them. So we will have to do beta testing. We will have to just test with A/B testing on messaging and different landing pages and see how it works. So this is, I think, the most difference about B2C and B2C that makes the shift on the mindset, because it implies that product and marketing need to work really closely together to ensure that when we communicate something on the market, it's true and and we really show what's the truth behind the product, because we can't save something because it's too late. It's already there. So I think this is something really important to have in mind. And also, I think that in B2B, there is the need to educate the market, to educate the prospects, the audience that we want to target. While in B2C, we need to make people dream, to make them willing to test, to have the product. So it's much more in the emotional, in the feelings, while in B2B is more on the rational. While now we are tending to be more also in the feeling and the emotional, because we are humans after all, whether in B2C and B2B. But the B2C is really at the core, whether it's a physical product or a digital product. At the end now, we are just doing at the tech level what we have all already done when we work in companies like in consumer goods, FMCG, Philips, everyone, Coca-Cola already have done that and it works. So that's what we are trying to do also now in the digital space.
So if I'm going on a hike in the Alps and I'm using the Decathlon app and I don't know where to go, you telling me, Carlota, that I can't just run up and be like, hey, Carlota, here's a one pager about this hike. So I can't give you a one pager? Is that what you're telling me?
For example, you can find on the web, you can find many places where to go with the explanation about why this waterfall is so beautiful, why you should go there, what you will find. And you will also have in Google Maps, you can have the stars, the advices from other people. So the idea is really we have the mobile application and also the web page that allows with the web page, you get inspired. You can see the things where you want to go. With the application, you can also get inspired and then you can be guided the D-Day. You want to go to this waterfall, you go the turn by turn and you know how to go how to go there.
So it sounds like when you're saying, like, one thing you're saying with B2C, like Carlota, is a lot of the things that we overlook or maybe take for granted in B2B, you're working with product to make sure that it's already built into the onboarding experience. It's already built into the customer experience.
Exactly. And what we try to do is really since we don't have sales to speak with them, to get in calls with them, we try to test much more and to really get like beta testers always here for us. So we know that we are like VIP users who really like the app, use them. And so for them, we allow them to get new features in advance so they can test it, give us insights, and then we can do improvements on the product. And once we are ready and we see that all the bugs and everything are in control, then it's available for all the users. So you're really in this mindset, because otherwise the risk is to go to the market, release new features, but if something goes wrong, then it directly impacts us because people will put bad reviews on the app stores, etc. And then all the credibility that we built, we can lose it really quickly. So that's why we always need to listen to the market, review the reviews, and really be very reactive when we see that something is going wrong.
So that sounds like a dream state for me, who lives in the B2B world, right? Having those advocates, those hand raisers who can come into a beta, and you actually doing a beta test and actually being able to say, hey, people want to buy this and this is how much they want to pay for it, and have all that influence. Why doesn't the B2B space have that? Like you seem to have over in B2C. I'm curious if you've experienced any other differences yourself or have any spicy opinions as to why people in my situation are not living that dream world like you just put in front of everybody.
I think that something that might impact this different is that in B2B, everything seems like more difficult, more impactful because we are in front of businesses and we see the people at their work and not where they are like hiking. But at the end, they are the same person. During the day, they are going to the office and the weekend, they will go hiking. But we don't see these people the same way. So when we are in the B2B, we have to be like perfect. We have to be very professional. While I think that this same person will appreciate to be talked like people who is going hiking, and at the end maybe it will work even better. And since we have this image of the businessman and businesswomen and well at the end workers people, I think that complexify the way we think and then the way that we put everything on the market, the positioning, messaging, etc., might seem not real, not as simple, because we try to be in this atmosphere, this professionalism, that at the end is not so true.
I love the way you put it, and I think it's right on the money. It's always seemed like a fairy tale in B2B where everything needs to be perfect. And I think this is a big issue when brands try to position themselves because they don't want to take a specific take or a specific opinion or a specific point of view. And because of that, it's, hey, we're just a perfect company. And because of that, you cannot have a drastic point of view as product marketer or non-marketer that not everyone will agree with you, but ultimately having opinions, having a stance on something is what makes us human, basically. So I really love the way you put that. And it's making me think about another question, again, on the drastic difference between B2B and B2C. We had on the pod, and I can't say it because it's season 2.
Correction. He doesn't send any Germans after us. It's Pep Laya.
Laya,
For all of our
right.
listeners. We got it right.
Pep Laya. Sorry, it's the French accent on my end. Yeah, he said that B2B is 10 years behind B2C. Would you agree with that statement? What's your take on it? And can we dig a little deeper towards that?
Yeah, I think I agree with him, because before being in the B2B, which was my last experience before the Decathlon Outdoor, I worked 5 years in the consumer goods as a product marketer for I don't know if in the United States, but it was like the brands Krups, Tefal, more in the kitchen, small electrical appliances world. And when I move from this universe, the consumer goods, where marketing is a hero at the end, I moved to the B2B company, which is a fintech company. I was I didn't understand anything of what was going on, basically, because everything, as I said, was really about being, and it's normal, being professional, saying the things. And it was more difficult to make drastic, as you said, Gab, to make radical changes and to say, okay, we are not targeting kind of audience, but this one. And this, it was difficult. And so I thought, why it's happening like this? And I think that today, the B2B, for many years, B2B was about talking about business and not talking about emotions, being irrational, talking about feelings, about what are the real problems hidden behind lacking of time, for example, or willing to gain more money. And I think that now that the market is more and more tense, it's more difficult to get money, to get fundraisers. We need the B2B environment need to find new ways of growth, because lead gen cannot do everything. And all the thing about the branding can be now a new way of growth. And I think that's why now the B2B space is more about being like B2C, and trying to be more near from the users, the clients, being more emotional, because it's the way it's working. At the end, if they don't do it, they will lose market share, and they won't be able to really build a brand that people want to pay for and to stay in the long term.
I this is actually turning into one of my favorite conversations because it feels really near and dear to me, because I drives me nuts that I'm a pretty casual dude. I got a backwards hat on and a crew neck, but like B2B is no longer.
That's the symbol of casual in
we
the
chilling.
eastern part of the U.S. here, Carlota. Backwards hat and a crew neck.
We're just chilling, right? And I don't know. It's wild to me that I think people still believe it's a handshakes and suits and tie mentality. I truly believe there is like that's their deep rooted fear, is that they still believe you got to bring a briefcase into work when you're doing a B2B thing. Whereas, like you said, you're talking to hikers. Like hikers aren't thinking about what their job is, unless their job is to hike, of course, right? And about a year ago, I came across the emotional buying pyramids. Are you familiar with that by chance?
Yeah, all the emotional, the different.
Yeah, and what blew my mind is that there's one for B2C and one for B2B. And I was like,
Really?
yeah, and I was like, why? Because like you said, a hiker is also that CEO, right? And so at the
Exactly.
end of the day, I think the B2B buying pyramid maybe not need to be used in the B2C space, but what I think people aren't doing is they're not using the B2C pyramid in conjunction with the emotions for the B2B side, because you said it very early on. We aren't selling to a business, we're talking to a person. And I don't know if you haven't checked out the B2B pyramid. I'd love for you to look at that, get back to me offline sometime and give me your thoughts. But it was like really enlightening how you have this whole separate emotional pyramid for the business side versus the consumer side, so to speak.
I did not know that there was this difference. So yeah, I will have a look.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with it. I'm
Carla-
trying to still figure out my theory behind it all and how you blend them together and to create that perfect buying experience. But yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I think that in any something that might also be important to have in mind is that in B2C, when we buy a product, if it's not a premium one, really expensive, or when you just have to download an application, it's not really risky averse, if I can say that. I won't lose so much money. If I want, I can just erase it from my phone, and that's all. So it's also easier, I think, when we are in the B2C to just be more, as you said, normal, simple, because everything is more simple. While when you are in the B2B or the sales cycle, I think you know that can be very long. It can be very difficult to get with the right people, to use the right demos, the right sentences that will make people actually think about that. And I think that also makes everything more complex because in B2B, we also are in an environment that, after all, is more complex than when you just have to download one app. And if you want, you can erase it just after if you don't like it.
Yeah, I think it's a lot harder to read an entire 2-page DocuSign than to not read one of those checkmark user license agreement
Exactly.
things.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. I appreciate that.
Not yet doubt on that.
I love it.
Carlota, question for you. We mentioned earlier, you've got product marketing stories. It's the number one PMM podcast in France. And the reason why I wanted to call this out for a second is that here in the US, there are many titles within product marketing. One common one we see a lot is Global Product Marketing Manager.
Okay.
And thank you. That's really helpful to hear.
So you just said that, at least in Europe, a lot of those PMMs report to the product department. Is it fair to say that because they are under product, PMMs in Europe are not marketers?
Yeah.
We got it, boys.
Yes,
That is.
yes, you got it.
All right. We like to have a little fun with our favorite guests. So you're coming into that lineup. We play a little game called Either Or, where we'll put you into a phone booth and you are given an option between one of those two things and you have to pick one. All right.
Okay,
How's that sound?
let's go.
Okay. So
Let's try it.
given that you're born in Spain, you're living in France, I can tell it sounds like you speak 3 languages. Is that correct?
Yes, even 4 if you talk about the Catalan
Okay.
in
Oh, yes.
Catalonia.
All right. So we've got 4 then. All right. So I'm going to keep it more native to you, and we'll start with flamenco or ballet.
Ballet.
All right. Bullfighting or Tour de France.
Tour de France.
Okay. Do you like art at all?
Do I like what?
Art?
Yes, I like it.
Picasso or Monet?
That's a difficult one. I will say Picasso.
Oh, okay. Sangria or champagne?
Oh. It depends on the moment.
Like,
I would say
It depends on the option. It's not an option in the phone booth.
it's not an
You're
option.
going on a date with
I will say
Kevin.
champagne. I will say champagne.
All right.
awesome.
Because I'm in France, so I have to say champagne.
Okay. Fair. Running of the Bulls or the Cannes Film Festival?
Film festival, I would say.
Okay. Let's go with last 2. Costa Brava or French Riviera?
Costa Brava.
And all right, since you're in the location, Alps or the Pyrenees?
Alps.
All right.
The mountains are higher.
All right. then we'll let you out of the phone booth now, and that ends the lightning round. So great job.
Great.
That was cool to unpack a little bit more about you and what you're doing outside of work.
Thank you.
So yeah, thank you very much for being with us. Where can people find you? When can people hear more about you? When can people connect with you or listen to product marketing stories? Tell us everything about you.
Yeah, people can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm quite active. I write some posts every week. And product marketing stories, there will be a link directly on my profile, so easy to get. Sorry, all the episodes are in French. So if you are French, you can listen to them. Otherwise, there are other really great guests for English speakers. And yes, I think LinkedIn is the best way to reach with me.
One
I
more
got another
question.
reason to learn French now, so to listen to that podcast.
You have to.
I took 4 years of it in high school, so I'm 4 years in. Let's sharpen that pencil up again. And last question: do you have any special projects that you're either coming out with, or you might want to let listeners know about?
Not so big projects. I will continue with my podcast. Many episodes are coming, new episodes, new collaborations, all as well. So I think it will be a great year for the pod this year.
Awesome.
Thank you.
We'll be supporting.
Thank you very much.
And thank
Yes.
you. So how's that sound, guys? Does that wrap it up for another episode of We're Not Marketers?
Thank you for listening to We're Not Marketers. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe, review our podcast, and share this episode with other PMMs. Thanks again, and see you soon.